project in history about the Holocaust. I honestly don't know anything about it.
Wait, I know a lot about the Holocaust. I can help you if you want.
Oh, really? Oh, that would be awesome. Oh, my project is about whether or not the Nazi human experimentations benefit modern science.
Wait, I know a lot about that subject, but before we go into that, I have to tell you what human experimentation is first. Human experimentation during the Holocaust consisted of the experiments that Nazi doctors did on their prisoners in the concentration camp. There were many torturous ways in which doctors treated their patients. The doctor conducted experiments which would result in the death of thousands of people. The experiments were said to be done for scientific research. However, the credibility of the data collected was later questioned because of the motives of the doctors and the horrible result. Many doctors were thought to be involved for the political recognition they would later gain. For this reason, it was frowned upon when the Holocaust ended.
Oh, great. Now that I know what human experimentation is, what were some of the experiments they did?
I have a few videos that we can watch, so let me go grab my computer. Oh wait, it's this one.
Breaking news. I'm now standing in front of Auschwitz. The doctors at Auschwitz have released more information about the experiments on twins. Dr. Joseph Mengele says they were testing to see if the human body can be manipulated from the outside environment. He thought the best way to accurately measure this was by using twins. One twin was left alone and fed well, while the other had various procedures and surgeons done on them. Mengele wanted to see if he could change the eye color of one of the twins. He did this by injecting various dyes into the eye of the victim. Sadly, this did not work and the child was blinded.
That's awful. Why would Mengele do this? Did he really think this would work?
He claimed that it was all in the name of science. He told himself that if there was even the slightest chance of it working, then he would do it. He convinced himself that it would be worth the lives he was sacrificing because he could apply that information to finding cures.
Well, what other experiments did he do?
Well, there was also the freezing experiment. Let me show you. It's this one.
Breaking news. I'm now standing in front of the science building where doctors conducted several experiments. Doctors conducted the freezing experiment, which was meant to find ways of preventing and curing hypothermia for soldiers on the Eastern Front near Russia, where it was very cold. Test subjects were put in rooms where the temperatures was under 0 degrees Celsius. In an attempt to rapidly rewarm them, some subjects were thrown into vats of boiling water.
That's so cruel. I wonder if that actually benefits modern science.
Yeah, well, that's not all they did. They also did experiments to try to find the cure for malaria. Here's the last video. Breaking news. I'm now at Dachau concentration camp. This concentration camp conducted experiments to investigate immunization for treatment of malaria. Prisoners were infected by mosquitoes or by injections of extras of the mucus glands of female mosquitoes. After contracting the disease, the subjects were treated with various drugs to test their relative efficiency. Over 1,000 people were used in these experiments, and more than half died as a result.
That's so cruel. I wonder if that actually benefits modern science. Oh, there's a good one.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking for.
Recently, there are controversies about the benefits of the experimentations which Nazi doctors did in the concentration camp. Do the experiments really improve science? Despite the fact that millions of people were tortured and killed, we have to admit that Nazi medical scientists identified the connection between cigarette smoking and lung cancer more than 2 decades before the Surgeon General's warning and undertook public health programs to help people quit smoking. During 1930s and 1940s, the Nazis banned smoking in restaurant and public transportation systems and severely regulated the advertising of the smoking in cigarettes. There was also a high tobacco tax. Several health organizations in Nazi Germany even began claiming that smoking heightened the risks of miscarriages by pregnant women, now a commonly known fact. Furthermore, from the freezing experiments, they developed methods which is used to bring the bodies back to safe temperature, including the rapid active rewarming technique that seemed to be the most effective method of revival and is used today in the West. This research could potentially fill in gap in other researchers studying hypothermia. The Nazi human experimentations did benefit science, though it cost millions of casualties which made people usually ignore its contributions.
The events that happened were wrong and inhumane, for it should not have been allowed. However, there is a misconception between the idea of benefiting and the idea of good and evil. Saying that the Nazis' experiments improved science doesn't necessarily mean that it is morally good. There were many bad things that were done to these people. In addition, it killed many and harmed the people, sacrificing many of them. However, if nowadays the doctors can use the data from these experiments to cure patients, we can say it is beneficial. It is only how we choose to apply the information that we can determine whether the science serves a good or an evil purpose, through the way that we choose to use it. However, by saying this, we do not believe that it is right to repeat the horrible way in which many were treated. The thousands of lives sacrificed should not be repeated, and it is not right. Therefore, as we ask ourselves whether the human experimentation really benefited science, we can conclude that the Nazi human experimentations benefited science through the information that it found. However, it was a dark time for humanity.
I can't believe they would do something like that. Well, thanks for your help. Now I know a lot more about my project.
Yeah, that's good. I think class is about to start. We should start going.
Alrighty, let's go.